Welcome to this video learning session. When you complete the session, you will be able to construct a context diagram. In this session, you'll learn about context diagrams and why they are important, how to construct a context diagram, and how you can use a case tool to create a context diagram. Whether you want to construct a building or develop an information system, you need clear specifications and a set of blueprints. A context diagram shows an information system's overall design and is the first step in creating a set of DFDs, which are like the blueprints for building the system. In a previous learning session, you worked with various DFD symbols, such as processes, data stores, entities, and data flows. Now you're ready to create your own context diagram. To do this, you'll need to place the DFD symbols and connect them properly. Like this graphic, a context diagram shows a system's boundaries, scope, and external entities. Let's look at a typical context diagram. This one is from the textbook. It shows a simple grading system. First, let's identify each element in the diagram. Then, we'll show how to build the same diagram from scratch. A process symbol is at the center of the diagram. Every process gets an ID number. This is called process 0 because it represents the entire grading system. Next are the entities that interact with the grading system. They are student, instructor, and the student records system. Notice that input and output data flows connect each entity to the grading system process. Let's identify each data flow. The student inputs submitted work and receives graded work in return. The instructor enters grading parameters and receives a grade report. The student records system submits a class roster as input and receives a set of final grades in return. Now that we've reviewed the symbols, let's create our own context diagram. First, place a single process symbol in the center of the page. This symbol represents the entire system, so we identify it with the number 0. Next, place the 3 entities on the page and arrange them as needed. The boxes can be either shaded or unshaded. Now, with the entities in place, we're ready for the data flows. Let's start with the student data flows. Next, add the data flows for instructor. Finally, add the data flows for the student records system. Notice that this external entity is another information system. In large applications, a modular design makes the overall system easier to build and maintain. That's it! We're done with our diagram. Notice that there are no data stores shown on the context diagram. This is because data stores are internal components and are never shown on a top-level context diagram. Later, when we open up process 0, we'll probably see several data stores and maybe more processes too. As systems become more complex, the DFDs also get more complex. For example, here is a context diagram for an order system. The basic concept is the same, but a complex system has more entities and data flows. Notice that there is still only one process at the center of the diagram, process 0, which contains the order system itself. Also notice that external entities can have input data flows, output data flows, or both. This is part 3, where you'll learn how to use a case tool to create a context diagram. This is the opening screen for the Visible Analyst Case tool. We've already created a new project called VLS2, so we're ready to begin building the context diagram. To get started, click File, New Diagram, and then click the Context Diagram box. When we click OK, the program places a process symbol with the number 0 on the page and prompts us for a name. We'll enter the name Grading System because process 0 represents the entire system. By the way, it's okay to use the pointer symbol on the menu bar to rearrange the symbols and align them. To save the context diagram, click File, Save, and enter the name Context Diagram. Now add the three entities. Click the entity symbol on the menu bar, and then click the area of the screen where we want to place the symbol. Each time we do this, the program will prompt us for a name. We'll use the same names we used before: Student, Instructor, and Student Records System. With the process symbol and the entities in place, we're ready to add the data flows. We'll select one of the data flow symbols on the menu bar and then drag it to position the data flow. Let's start with the student entity. First, add an output data flow and name it Submitted Work. Then, add an input data flow and name it Graded Work. Now, follow the same process for each of the other two entities. The instructor submits grading parameters and receives a grade report, and the student records system receives final grades and submits a class roster. That's all there is to it. Systems analysts use case tools to handle many tasks, and you'll learn more in the textbook. In another video learning session, you'll learn how to look inside the context diagram and see the internal workings of the information system. In this session, you learned why context diagrams are important, how to construct context diagrams, and how to use a case tool to construct a context diagram. For more information, you can refer to the textbook or your student study tool. Now it's your turn to apply your skills and check your work. For background information, tasks to complete, and sample answers, go to the Management Information Systems CourseMate at www.cengagebrain.com. Select this text and navigate to the video learning sessions. Thanks for attending this video learning session.